Marie stood in front of her bathroom mirror on the morning of her 62nd birthday, and for the first time in her life, she didn't recognize the woman staring back. Not because she looked different, but because she felt different. Her knees ached, her energy had flatlined, and the closeness she once shared with her partner felt like a distant memory, replaced by awkward silence and separate bedrooms. She whispered to herself, "Is this it? Are my best years really behind me?" What if I told you that 3 months later, Marie would be dancing salsa at midnight, hiking 5 miles without breaking a sweat, and rediscovering a joy she thought was gone forever? What if I told you that one conversation, just one, changed absolutely everything? If you ever wonder whether your body, your energy, or your relationships are destined to decline with age, stay with me, because Marie's story is about to shatter every belief you have about getting older. And I want to hear from you. What's your biggest fear about aging? Drop it in the comments right now. Marie had always been active. In her 30s and 40s, she jogged 3 times a week, played tennis on weekends, and never thought twice about staying up late or waking up early. But somewhere between 55 and 60, everything changed. The mornings became harder. She'd wake up stiff, her lower back protesting every movement. Recovery from even simple activities took days instead of hours. A weekend hike would leave her exhausted for a week. And then there was the weight. 15 pounds that seemed to appear out of nowhere and refused to leave no matter what she tried. But the physical changes were only part of the story. The harder truth was what happened between her and James, her partner of 20 years. The intimacy they'd once shared had quietly slipped away. Not all at once, but gradually, like sand through fingers. They'd stopped reaching for each other, stopped laughing together. They'd become roommates who occasionally shared meals. Marie told herself this was normal. This was just what happened when you got older. Bodies changed. Desire faded. Romance was for the young. She stopped looking in mirrors. She stopped making plans. She started using phrases like, "at my age," and "I'm too old for that." Inside, she was screaming. But outwardly, she smiled and accepted what she thought was inevitable. Then came Tuesday at the community fitness center. Can you relate to any of Marie's fears? If you ever felt like your body or your relationships are slipping away, hit that like button. You're not alone, and what happens next might just change your perspective entirely. The fitness class was Marie's last-ditch effort, a gentle movement program for adults over 50. Low impact, no pressure, a place where she wouldn't feel embarrassed about her limitations. That's where she met Richard. He was 70 years old, but you wouldn't know it by watching him move. He flowed through stretches with ease, chatted enthusiastically with everyone, and had this spark in his eyes that Marie hadn't seen in people her own age or even younger. During the water break, Richard noticed Marie struggling with a shoulder stretch. "First time?" he asked, his smile genuine and warm. "Is it that obvious?" Marie laughed weakly. "Only because I remember my first day. I could barely touch my toes. Now look at me. I'm more flexible than my grandkids." They got to talking. Richard mentioned he'd been coming to the class for 5 years. He'd started at 65, after his doctor warned him about declining health. But that wasn't the remarkable part. The remarkable part came when he mentioned his partner, Eleanor. "Honestly," Richard said, lowering his voice conspiratorially, "these classes saved more than my back. They saved my marriage. Well, that and 5 other things we figured out along the way." Marie's ears perked up. 5 things. Richard grinned. 5 secrets. Actually, not really secrets. More like truths nobody wants to talk about. But they work. Eleanor and I are healthier and happier now than we were at 50. Marie felt something she hadn't felt in months. Hope. Mixed with heavy skepticism, sure, but hope nonetheless. Would you mind sharing them?" she asked. Richard pulled out his phone. "Let me give you my number. Come over for tea this weekend. Eleanor would love to meet you. Fair warning, though. Once you know these 5 things, you can't unknow them. They require actual effort." Marie looked at the 70-year-old man who moved like he was 50, smiled like he had no worries, and talked about his marriage like they were still newlyweds. What did she have to lose? The 5 secrets. Secret number 1, movement as medicine. That Saturday, Richard and Eleanor's home felt like walking into warmth itself. Tea brewing, soft music playing, and two people who genuinely seemed delighted to share what they'd learned. The first secret is almost embarrassingly simple, Richard began. Move your body. Every single day. Not obsessively. Not punishingly. Just move. Eleanor nodded. We walk together every morning. 30 minutes minimum. Sometimes an hour if we're feeling chatty. Rain or shine. And twice a week, Richard added, we do resistance training. Nothing crazy. Resistance bands, light weights, bodyweight exercises. The goal isn't to become bodybuilders. It's to keep our muscles from deteriorating. Marie frowned. But doesn't exercise get harder as you age? It gets harder if you stop, Eleanor corrected gently. Your joints need movement to stay lubricated. Your heart needs to pump. Your muscles need engagement or they atrophy. And here's the thing nobody tells you. Physical vitality affects everything else. Energy, mood, sleep, even intimacy. Richard leaned forward. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, Marie. The first 2 weeks were brutal. I was sore. I was tired. I wanted to quit. But then something shifted. I started waking up with energy instead of pain. My back stopped screaming at me. And let's just say Eleanor and I rediscovered activities we thought were off the table. Marie felt her cheeks flush, but she was intrigued. Start small, Eleanor advised. A 10-minute walk. Some gentle stretches. Add a minute each week. Your body will remember what it's capable of. Secret number 2, nutrition for vitality. Secret number 2, Eleanor said, refilling Marie's tea, is fuel. Your body is a machine, and you've been running on the wrong gas. Marie bristled slightly. I eat healthy. Lots of salads, low-fat everything. That's what we thought, too, Richard interrupted. But healthy isn't just about what you remove. It's about what you add. Eleanor pulled out a notebook filled with meal ideas. Fiber became our best friend. Whole grains, beans, lentils. We added berries to breakfast, vegetables to every meal. We stopped demonizing healthy fats, avocados, nuts, olive oil. These things don't just feed your body. They feed your brain, your hormones, your energy levels. I used to crash every afternoon, Richard admitted. Needed a nap or I was useless. Once we changed how we ate, that disappeared. Steady energy all day long. And the mental clarity, Eleanor added. I used to feel foggy, forgetful. People told me it was just age. Turns out it was inflammation from processed foods and sugar. Marie thought about her own diet. The frozen dinners. The afternoon candy bars to fight exhaustion. The wine every night to unwind. Did you cut out everything fun? She asked. Eleanor laughed. Absolutely not. We still have dessert. We still enjoy ourselves. But we made the healthy stuff the foundation instead of the afterthought. And honestly, once your taste buds adjust, you start craving the good stuff. Your mood will improve too, Richard said. There's a gut-brain connection. When Eleanor and I both started eating better, we stopped being so irritable with each other. Coincidence? I don't think so. Secret number 3, open communication. This one's uncomfortable, Richard warned, but it's the most important. Eleanor reached over and squeezed his hand. We had to learn to talk about the things we've been avoiding. Our bodies, our health, our desires. Marie shifted in her seat. This was a conversation she'd been dreading and desperately needing. For years, Eleanor continued, I assumed Richard wasn't interested anymore, and he assumed the same about me. We were both wrong. We were just too embarrassed to say anything. The turning point, Richard said, was making our doctor's appointments joint efforts. We started going together, asking questions we were too afraid to ask alone. Questions like, what? Marie asked quietly. Like, how do our medications affect intimacy? Are these aches normal or treatable? What can we do about declining hormones? Is there anything that could help with energy or desire? Eleanor counted them off on her fingers. Doctors won't bring it up if you don't. But once we started asking, we got real answers. Richard nodded. Turned out some of my medications were killing my energy. A simple adjustment made a world of difference. Eleanor had a vitamin D deficiency that was affecting everything: mood, energy, bone health. Easy fix once we knew about it. But beyond the medical stuff, Eleanor said, we had to talk to each other about what we wanted, what we missed, what scared us. It felt awkward at first, but that honesty, it brought us closer than we've been in years. Marie felt tears prickling her eyes. When was the last time she and James had really talked? Really shared what they were feeling? How many of you wish your doctors talked more openly about aging, health, and intimacy? Comment below if you've ever felt too embarrassed to ask important questions. Let's normalize these conversations. Secret number 4, playful novelty. Secret 4 saved our relationship. Eleanor said with a mischievous smile, playful novelty. Marie blinked. Playful novelty? We got boring, Richard admitted. Same routine every day. Same conversations. Same everything. We'd become beige. So we made a pact, Eleanor explained. Every month, we'd try something new together. A cooking class, dance lessons, pottery, hiking a new trail, learning a language. It sounds simple, Richard said, but it was revolutionary. Suddenly we had things to talk about again. We were laughing together, flirting, having fun. Eleanor leaned forward conspiratorially. And when you laugh together, when you play together, when you learn together, other forms of intimacy naturally follow. The spark comes back because you're not just going through the motions anymore. We took a salsa class, Richard said, grinning. I have 2 left feet, but we didn't care. We stumbled around, laughed until we cried, and by the end of the night we felt like teenagers again. Date nights became adventures instead of obligations, Eleanor added. We'd try new recipes together, making a mess in the kitchen and not caring. We'd go to museums and make up stories about the paintings. We'd take midnight walks and count stars. Marie realized she and James hadn't done anything new in years. They'd stopped exploring, stopped surprising each other, stopped trying. Novelty releases dopamine, Richard explained. It's science. Your brain literally lights up when you experience something new, especially with someone you care about. You don't need to spend money or travel far. You just need to break the pattern. Secret number 5, mindfulness and mental health. The final secret, Eleanor said softly, is about your mind. Because if your thoughts are full of stress, worry, and self-doubt, nothing else matters. Richard nodded. I used to think meditation was nonsense. New age mumbo-jumbo. But Eleanor convinced me to try it for just 5 minutes a day. It changed everything, Eleanor said. We started our mornings with 10 minutes of quiet, sometimes guided meditation, sometimes just breathing. It set the tone for the entire day. My stress levels dropped, Richard admitted. I stopped catastrophizing, stopped worrying about every little ache and pain. My sleep improved dramatically. Eleanor pulled out 2 worn journals, and we started gratitude practices. Every night before bed, we'd each write down 3 things we were grateful for. Some days it was big stuff. Some days it was just, the coffee was really good today. Sounds cheesy, Richard said, but it rewired our brains. We started noticing the good things instead of fixating on problems. Our whole outlook shifted. And when you feel better mentally, Eleanor added, you feel better about yourself. Marie, I can't tell you how much my confidence grew. I'd spent years criticizing my aging body, wishing I looked like I did at 30. The mindfulness practices helped me accept, even appreciate where I am now. Self-esteem matters, Richard said. When you feel good about yourself, when you're not consumed by anxiety, intimacy becomes natural again. You're not in your head worrying. You're present. Marie felt something unlocking inside her. These weren't magic pills or impossible transformations. These were simple, doable changes, and she wanted them all. 3 months later, Marie stood in front of her bathroom mirror again. Same mirror, same bathroom, completely different woman. She started small, a 15-minute walk the first week, then 20, then 30. James had joined her after the first week. Curious about her sudden motivation, they'd started talking again during those walks. really talking. The farmers' market became their Saturday morning ritual. They cooked together now, experimenting with recipes, laughing at their mistakes. Marie's afternoon energy crashes disappeared. Her jeans fit better. Her back stopped hurting. But the physical changes, as wonderful as they were, paled compared to everything else. She and James had gone to the doctor together for the first time in their relationship. They'd asked the awkward questions, made adjustments, got honest answers. The relief of finally addressing what they'd been avoiding was immense. They'd taken a pottery class, both of them terrible at it, both of them not caring. They'd signed up for ballroom dancing. They'd started a tradition of sunrise coffee on their porch, watching the neighborhood wake up, hands intertwined. And the intimacy? It had returned. Not the same as it was 20 years ago. Better, more intentional, more connected, built on communication and playfulness, and genuine appreciation for each other. Maria had started sharing her journey at the fitness center. Others had noticed her transformation, not just physical, but the light that had returned to her eyes. She became the one encouraging newcomers, sharing Richard and Eleanor's 5 secrets, proving that change was possible at any age. One woman, Linda, 67 and recently widowed, had approached Marie in tears. "I thought I was done living," Linda whispered. "But watching you, hearing your story, maybe I'm not." That moment crystallized everything for Marie. This wasn't just about her anymore. It was about shattering the lie that aging means declining, that vitality, joy, and intimacy have expiration dates, that 60, 70, 80 means settling for less. Richard had been right. These weren't secrets. They were truths hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone brave enough to reach for them. Marie reached for them, and her life transformed. Age wasn't her barrier. It was her excuse. And the moment she stopped making excuses, everything changed. If Marie's story inspired you, do me a favor. Subscribe to this channel and share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Maybe it's a parent, a friend, or even yourself. Let's create a community that refuses to accept declining as inevitable. And I want to know, what's one small change you're going to make today? A 10-minute walk? A conversation you've been avoiding? Trying something new with your partner? Drop it in the comments. Let's hold each other accountable. Marie proved it's never too late to reclaim your vitality, your joy, and your life. The question is, are you ready to prove it too?